You know, if we had started our senior thesis earlier, we wouldn't be pulling yet another all-nighter.
Why should things be different this time? One final touch, and we're done. Let's go graduate.
Here with the national anthem is Mariah Ann Bonneau.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Reading the New Commons Land Acknowledgement, Cheyenne Cray and Sierra Miller.
We would like to begin by recognizing that UMF sits on the traditional agricultural lands of the Abenaki people of Amisconti, and by expressing gratitude and acknowledgement to the people and the land. We would also wish to extend this acknowledgement to the Maliseet, Micmac, Penobscot, and Passamaquoddy Nation, who, with the Abenaki, make up the Wabanaki people. We recognize and affirm the sovereignty of the Native nations in this territory and beyond.
We pledge to continue our collaboration with the Wabanaki people to further decolonize this place and to create a more inclusive space for Wabanaki peoples as well as the indigenous peoples. throughout our nation. We acknowledge that this is an ongoing process in which the University of Maine at Farmington promises to take part in, alongside those many Indigenous individuals who have contributed to this important cause.
Good morning. I am Edward Cerna, and I have the honor of serving as president of the University of Maine at Farmington. It is my privilege to welcome you today as we celebrate this year's commencement for the class of 2021. I would like to extend a warm welcome to faculty, staff, parents, friends, loved ones, and honored guests. I would also like to recognize University of Maine System Chancellor Daniel Malloy, the System Board of Trustees, and our very own UMF Board of Visitors for their unwavering support during this extraordinary time. Most importantly, I would like to share my sincere appreciation with the parents and loved ones of our students. Your encouragement and support has been essential to their success and well-being, and you deserve our wholehearted gratitude. Today's virtual ceremony, though unconventional, is true to those distinguished, time-honored commencement traditions, and we couldn't be prouder of you, our graduates, and how far you have come and all you have achieved. It is a testament to your dedication and perseverance during this unprecedented year of change. It is times like this, when ceremonies are revamped or canceled, that graduation has never been more important. The new look for this year's commencement is an affirmation that life is unpredictable, and sometimes you have to approach things differently and find new ways to be successful. However, commencement is a formal recognition of you and all of your accomplishments in your academic years at Farmington. And from the turn of your tassels, it marks your next steps into a very bright future. No one could have predicted the duration and impact of the COVID pandemic, which affected every aspect of your lives at home and on campus. Your persistence through deep disappointment and loss has touched us all. You rose to the challenge, rescheduled your lives, confirmed your priorities, and learned new ways to come together and be successful. Once again, we are reminded of the value of community and how everyone working together can achieve great things. Despite the need to practice social distancing and forgo many in-person experiences, we learned how to engage in a vibrant virtual community. As a result of the strength of our community, students, faculty, and staff made it their mission to keep Farmington safe and moving forward to this meaningful day. Faculty revised their courses to accommodate in-person, hybrid, and remote learning. Facilities management worked behind the scenes to sanitize and secure residence halls, classrooms, and offices. The Thrifty Beaver Campus Food Pantry provided for students with food insecurity, along with the generosity of community members and local businesses, and the list goes on and on and on. Brianna Hinckley, a peer care manager and senior from Kingfield, said it so well. The UMF community is so important to all of its students. Even though this year is far from normal with hybrid classes and social distancing, Farmington is our home, and we want to be here and do the things that make that possible. This year, every one of you made that possible, and today's ceremony celebrates that. You made the changes needed to protect yourself and your community. You proved that regardless of circumstances, your resilience, personal strengths, knowledge, and creativity can help you attain your goals. What an incredibly valuable lesson to take with you as you graduate today, and one that will serve you well as you move forward from this day onto careers, graduate school, and new challenges. We are so proud of you. Congratulations, members of the class of 2021. Although we cannot gather together for this year's commencement event, we have many distinguished speakers joining us virtually. Let us begin with greetings from Chancellor Malloy.
President Cerna, staff, faculty, and most importantly, students of the University of Maine, Farmington, I'm pleased to be with you today. This, after all, marks the occasion of your graduation, your completion of studies with us. I want to thank you for the hard work that you've put in and day after with respect to your studies. But I also want to single you out for the extraordinary job you did in helping our institutions get through the pandemic. Thank you for that effort as well. Go forth from this day forward, using the education that you've garnered at our institution to the highest and best of your ability. And don't ever forget that people have gone before you and found ways to give back to community. Follow their example and be great Mainers or residents of whatever state you choose, but always think about the greater good for our prosperity. Congratulations.
And now with greetings from the University of Maine System Board of Trustees is Chairman James Irwin.
Greetings to you all from the University of Maine System Board of Trustees. I'm Jim Irwin, Chair of the Board. Once again, we find our university's most important events compromised by a viral pandemic. For those of you who may have endured the disease or have family members who did, please accept our sympathies and wishes for a return to good health. While this pandemic is not quite ready to let go, to succumb to the laws of epidemiology, neither are we succumbing to the pandemic, not by a long shot. Instead, we gather by virtual means to do what it is so important for us to do, to take the time to celebrate the achievements of our 4,000 degree recipients across all our campuses. At this time last year, even as we celebrated with amazement the ability of students, faculty, and staff to turn on a dime from in-person to 100% remote learning in a matter of days, and to press ahead to finish the year's work, we looked back and said, what just hit us? At that point, it would have been easy to get discouraged, to step back, to hold out for the experience you thought you had signed up for. And yet, a remarkable 87% of our students continued from fall to spring, compared to 75% a year earlier when there was no pandemic. The board is so very impressed by and proud of the individual decisions and commitments this number reflects. Once again, students, families, faculty, and staff have shown their main bona fides, pulling together with tremendous resilience, adaptability, patience, cooperation, and persistence. So this year, even as we remark with astonishment on the emergence in real time of a very different higher ed experience, many of the attributes of which will stay with us long after COVID departs from center stage, we look back and think, what a long, strange trip it's been. But commencement, of course, is also a time to look forward. So let me take a moment to do that. First, remember as you carry this experience with you that pandemics like this one are very uncommon. They're like 100-year floods. We don't really engineer our institutions to withstand them, and we have to adapt on the fly. I hope you will draw from your triumph over this level of adversity an extra measure of confidence in the next phases of your lives. Second, many of you have spent the last 4 or so years acquiring the skills and knowledge needed for a specific vocation. But some of you have not. You've entered college not knowing you needed to explore, to experiment. Maybe you know now, maybe you're not there yet. But whatever your path, the one acquisition that should be common to you all should be the ability to think critically and for yourself. We're bombarded regularly from every direction with carefully packaged messages purporting to distill the complexities of our society and even human nature itself into conveniently simple memes. These memes get repeated enough to become accepted as fact. Often they are anything but. For example, when you hear "follow the science," stop and question. Science is a process of inquiry, not a magical incantation that confers legitimacy on a theory or a contention. Ask, what is the science underlying the command to follow it? And when you hear "do the math," well, that's generally a good idea, but try to make sure it's the right math. Your world is going to be awash in data and data analyses, and they will not all be trustworthy. Try to understand what's behind them. Try to satisfy yourself that it's the right math. Critical thinking, whether it's following the science, doing the math, or some other form of due diligence, will rarely provide certitude. Often, however, it can lead you to an understanding of probabilities that help you make good decisions. If your university experience has given you the ability and the inclination to approach important decisions with that kind of thinking, then we did our job. I want to conclude by looking ahead for our system as well. The pandemic caused us to make sudden and extensive modifications to how we operate at great cost so that you and your fellow students, faculty, and staff would be able to continue your education safely and largely uninterrupted. At the same time, we've tried very hard to keep our eyes on and over the horizon. We have many challenges, and we are applying our best critical thinking skills to identify the best strategies to overcome those challenges, so that improving student success through better accessibility, affordability, relevance, and efficiency can be our everyday focus. But in addition to these challenges, we have many opportunities as well. A new engineering facility at the University of Maine nearing completion. Construction about to begin on a Student Success Center and the first residence halls for the University of Southern Maine's Portland campus. A new accreditation model that fosters collaboration across the system to make all of our programs widely accessible and to improve academic efficiency. And an unprecedented gift from the Harold Alfond Foundation that includes creation of a system-wide College of Engineering, Computing, and Information Science, funding for 3 system-wide initiatives to improve student success, and the completion of the University of Maine Graduate and Professional Center and related plans for investment in our law school. I'm proud to say that despite the disruption, we have persevered together. So once again, on behalf of the Board of Trustees, congratulations for staying the course in a time of unprecedented challenge and change, and best wishes for what lies ahead.
I am happy to add my greetings to all of you who have joined us, and I also welcome you to UMF's 2021 commencement exercises. I have the honor of introducing the student speaker, Billy Rose Newby. Billy Rose came to UMF from Wilmington, Delaware to study creative writing. She is moving on from UMF with the same spirit she brought to our community. She is open-minded, ready to challenge herself and those around her, ready to engage in creative ways, ready to uplift others, and ready to make her mark. There is no doubt Billy Rose is graduating having made her mark on UMF, including the staff members with whom she has worked, her professors, her classmates, and her wide and diverse circle of friends. You see, Billy Rose personifies what it means to make the most out of the UMF experience. She made the most of her UMF experience by working on campus and serving in roles that helped others achieve their goals. She has worked at conference services, the Farmington Library, as a stage manager for multiple productions, and as a teaching assistant. She also made the most of her UMF academic experience. Today, she graduates with a BFA in creative writing and English. During the pursuit of her degree, she engaged in deep and meaningful experiential learning. For example, she completed a year-long internship as the co-editor of the Sandy River Review, a literary magazine edited by UMF students. In fall 2020, she completed a semester-long creative writing project during which she assembled a design document for her own narrative video game. It was a complicated project with a great deal of character design, world building, and branching plot lines. Billy Rose plans a career in film production for animated television. Because she has made the most of her time at UMF, we are all certain she will be successful in her chosen career, making the most of her new work relationships and new opportunities. Please welcome the 2021 student speaker for UMF commencement, Billy Rose Newby.
When Carrie Arsenault, the author of Milltown, came to speak to my senior seminar class, she described UMF as small but mighty. This sentiment stuck with me. We are a small university in Franklin County, Maine, with only around 1,600 students, yet our student body is diverse in experience and in thoughts. We come from all across Maine, Bangor, Portland, Skowhegan, all across New England, Connecticut, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, all across the US, Texas, California, Hawaii, and all across the world, France, Japan, Guatemala. We are a diverse group of people drawn together by a desire to learn and grow. I've met some incredible people during my time at UMF, the fantastic faculty who have helped me grow, the supportive staff who have always encouraged me, and of course, my incredible fellow students who've inspired and amazed me every day for the past 4 years. When I think of the class of 2021, I think of my friends, my classmates, my fellow club members, all gathered together in Dearborn Gym for matriculation on our first day of classes. I think of watching students run across Mantor Green playing Humans vs. Zombies, or cramming into a jam-packed Lincoln Auditorium for a lawn chair pirate show or for Rocky Horror. And I think of stopping to talk to friends who are tabling in the Student Center on my way to lunch. But I also think of all the changes we went through, how we had 3 different school presidents in our first 3 years of college, or how we had to say goodbye to several beloved faculty members as they moved on to new positions or to retire. I remember how we all felt the campus shake as a building was destroyed right down the street. And I remember how in the spring of our junior year, we all packed up our belongings and moved off campus mid-semester at the start of the pandemic. I remember how we came together as a community and made it through. And that is what I really think of when I think of the class of 2021, a community that is always ready to work together to make a difference. A driven and outspoken community that participates in town halls, builds organizations, signs petitions, creates art, poetry, plays, and speaks out for what we believe in. Helping our campus become the best it can be for us and for the students who will come after us. We are living through historic times. The Black Lives Matter movement, the 2020 presidential election, and the COVID-19 pandemic are moments that will be discussed academically in classes for generations to come. But for us, these events are part of our present. They were the day-to-day experiences of our senior year. We talked about them with friends every day. They affected us. We did not sit still in these moments and let the everyday pass without input from its participants. We came together and acknowledged that this is not history for us. It is part of our lives. We attended teach-ins, encouraged each other to vote, and worked to complete our education safely, even when everything going on made it feel impossible. And we helped the administration build this: a safe chance for us to walk across the stage in person and celebrate our success. This graduation may appear to simply be another day of our lives, but it is also historic. This marks the moment when a group of students in Franklin County, Maine, with intelligence, creativity, tenacity, and ambition leave their academic home and start forging their mark on the world. So, to the class of 2021, as you move forward, let all that you have learned at UMF guide your spirit, your tenacity, your ambition, and your voice. Whether you're a teacher, a scientist, a writer, an outdoor guide, a business owner, whatever you may become, know that if you speak out and work hard for what you believe in, you will mold the world, you will leave a mark, and you will make a difference. Because you are a member of the University of Maine at Farmington's class of 2021. Congratulations, my friends, for all you have accomplished during your time at UMF and all you will accomplish in the future. As you go forth and make your mark on the world, remember where you started, your alma mater, and the community that we built here. We are small, but we are mighty.
Professor Daniel Gunn has taught in the English program at UMF since 1980. He's also served as interim dean of the College of Arts and Sciences, interim provost, chair of Faculty Senate, and for 12 years, chair of the Division of Humanities. In addition to being a transformational teacher for thousands of students, Professor Gunn has been a key figure in the expansion and consolidation of UMF's mission as a public liberal arts college. A widely respected and oft-cited authority in the fields of narratology and the English novel, Professor Gunn is a former National Humanities Center Fellow and the recipient of 3 NEH Summer Seminar Fellowships. He has published scholarly essays on Jane Austen, Henry James, Samuel Richardson, George Eliot, James Joyce, and the Talking Heads, and wrote the entry on free indirect discourse in the Oxford Research Encyclopedia of Literature. He has played key roles in numerous local theatrical productions, including Friar Lawrence in Romeo and Juliet, opposite Lord Capulet, Polonius in Hamlet, Prospero in The Tempest, Oberon in A Midsummer Night's Dream, and God in Everyman. I will add that he's also a New England Patriots superfan, and in his day had one of the sweetest jump shots in the history of Farmington pickup basketball. But Professor Gunn has always been a teacher first, best evinced in the introductory course in close reading that he pioneered at UMF and continues to teach into his recent retirement. In this course, students practice a careful, word-by-word attention to language that marries a rigorous approach to literary analysis with larger questions of experience, meaning, and purpose. Dan's teaching exemplifies the best tenets of the liberal arts, and no one has done more in UMF's history to promote these values for our students. The subject he teaches is English literature, but his lessons in how to pay attention, how to quiet the demands and distractions of the self, and how to learn from human experiences different from one's own are universal. It is hard to imagine any lessons we more urgently need to learn. Dan's singular, career-long dedication to UMF far exceeds what I can say in an introduction like this, but I am happy to have this occasion to thank him on behalf of UMF for his extraordinary gifts. Please join me in welcoming Professor Dan Gunn.
In Henry James's The Ambassadors, in a garden which the narrator describes as a spacious, cherished remnant in the heart of Paris, Lambert Strether, the main character well past middle age, delivers an earnest speech to a much younger friend. All the same, don't forget that you're young. Live all you can. It's a mistake not to. It doesn't so much matter what you do in particular, so long as you have your life. If you haven't had that, what have you had? This speech is notoriously vague. At some level, what Strether is trying to say is unsayable, and its sentiment is in any case complicated by the novel as a whole, during the course of which Strether first embraces the aesthetic sensibility represented to him by the city of Paris, and then finds himself drawing back, developing reservations and qualms. But these words still resonate. They were, James said, the germ of the novel, and I find, after weeks of mulling it over, that they are what I have to say to you, graduates, as a person even older than Strether, at your commencement. What does it mean to live all you can, to have had your life? Here I have to acknowledge, with some embarrassment, that one part of Strether's meaning seems clearly to be an appeal to sensual experience, to the life of the body. A lonely widower, scrupulous, self-conscious, without much acquaintance with romance in any sense, and all at once infatuated with Paris, Strether feels impelled to urge his young friend not to miss out, as he feels that he has, on the experience of youthful love. And maybe, as a gray-haired person addressing your enviable youth and vitality, I feel some small twinge of the same impulse. But I wouldn't dream of advising you about your sensual life. Instead, I want to talk to you about another way of reading Live All You Can, a way of thinking about what having your life might mean that is intimately bound up with your experience as students in a liberal arts college, which I have also been brooding over these past few weeks. To study a subject for 4 years, as you have here, to enter into a discipline in a community of inquiry, is to be reminded again and again of the depth and complexity and richness of human experience, and to practice bringing to bear on this experience the full resources of consciousness, the resources of a curious and active and informed mind. That is what I hope you will carry with you from this place and into your lives. As you were examining glacial striations in exposed bedrock, or revising your lesson plan on the French Revolution, or listening for variations in a piano sonata, you were preparing all the while to have your lives, to live fully in the world in the sense I want to give those phrases here. I mean, first of all, that as you were taking notes in the field or trying to make sense of a work of art, you were practicing attention, sustained and fully aware concentration, listening and watching in a posture of receptivity and openness. Do not underestimate the value of this work. As Simone Weil writes, the development of the faculty of attention forms the real object and almost the sole interest of school study. If we concentrate our attention on trying to solve a problem of geometry, she continues, and if at the end of an hour we are no nearer to doing so than at the beginning, we have nevertheless been making progress each minute of that hour in another, more mysterious dimension. Without our knowing or feeling it, this apparently barren effort has brought more light into the soul. To live fully, I think, means to cultivate this faculty of attention, the capacity to notice things as they are in all of their nuanced complexity, rather than allowing ourselves to be constituted by a collection of cliches, oversimplifications, and ready-made postures that offer to stand between us and experience. In Middlemarch, George Eliot writes of the tragedy of ardent young souls coming to be shapen by the average and fit to be packed by the gross. To me, that is what it would mean not to have your lives. That is what we are all fighting against, being reduced to a ready-made product. This fighting is the work of a lifetime, and what we fight with, in part, is our attention, which keeps us alive in and to the world, and which you have been practicing here for 4 years. In addition to cultivating this faculty of attention, I hope you will also live all you can by embracing the world ecstatically, by finding opportunities to throw yourself unreservedly into the local habitations and the shimmering present tense scenes that constitute your life. It doesn't so much matter what you do, as Strother says, or where you end up. What matters is being present fully in the now you have been granted, layering it over with the past and your own sensibility, and finding a way to love the world in all its particularity. When we are in love, Robert Bly writes, we love the grass and the barns and the light poles and the small main streets abandoned all night. What I respond to in this poem is not the cause, romantic love again, but the effect that Bly describes, a sensibility that embraces even the most unpromising features in a rural landscape something like ours, grass and barns and light poles, and loves them. The poem also enacts what it describes as the monosyllables of grass and barns open into light poles and then into an entire scene, the small main streets abandoned all night, so that there seems to be an ecstatic expansion or release in the rhythms of the poem, even in the face of the loneliness in the final scene, as the speaker drives through what might be Broadway or Main Street and finds it deserted in the middle of the night. To me, this is the condition that our deepest selves aspire to be in love with the world, as Whitman is when he insists that a leaf of grass is no less than the journey work of the stars, or as Ross Gay is when he asks, what do you think this singing and shuddering is, what this screaming and reaching and dancing and crying is, other than loving what every second goes away? In a moment like this, we inhabit a ghostly alternate temporality in which time is no longer proceeding heedless and straight ahead, but is hesitating and looping back and opening out to allow us to pause and linger over the luminous particulars of our lives. Here again, undergraduate study, at its best, offers a model. Think of the way you felt toward the end of Calc 1 when something turned in your mind and you finally got it. You saw what the calculus was and what it could do, or the way you felt when everything you had learned about teaching shifted and reoriented itself when you found yourself in a classroom with real students in all of their particularity, or the way you felt when the poem you had been working on for a month fell into place seemingly on its own as you sat at your desk late at night. In my view, that sort of feeling, that sort of moment was the point of your education, Whatever else it does or doesn't do, undergraduate education in a liberal arts setting makes a space for this sort of ecstatic experience, for the experience of love, encourages it to happen. And I hope that you will carry the longing for that experience into your lives, where it will never be encouraged in the same way, but where it will still be vital for your soul's health. Finally, as you know, your soul's health will also require that you find a way to live justly and ethically in the world. In this area, too, I hope that the capacity for sustained attention and love that you have nurtured at UMF will help you. In The Ambassadors, Strother serves as a model of what Martha Nussbaum calls a finely aware and richly responsible consciousness, reading and imagining other people with a full allowance for their autonomy and complexity, turning over their situations in his mind without relying on preordained categories. His receptive and imaginative consciousness is the basis for his concern for the welfare of others, which colors all of his actions. By contrast, the ethically problematical characters in the novel are distinguished by their inattention. They simply do not notice things, and this makes it difficult for them to be good people on the novel's terms, which are the terms of a long and finally Christian tradition in the English novel, going back at least as far as Jane Austen. Other ethical terms have been proposed in American life, and particularly in American political life these last few years. The morality of the alpha male, exercising power and taking what he wants, punishing those weaker than himself, putting himself and his tribe first, always. But I hope that the 4 years you have spent here thinking about the history of ethics and morality, not just in literature and philosophy, but in business and the health professions and law and politics, have prepared you to see this as a pitifully diminished and limited vision of human life, as it is, and to aim for something more, to seek to live in a fuller and richer and more ethical way, whatever you do. I also hope that it's okay for me to say, in closing, how much I love and admire you, some of you personally, from my own experience in classrooms or in theater productions or over coffee, but all of you in the abstract, because of your courage and resilience and care for one another under the most difficult circumstances. Most of you were born just before the planes crashed into the World Trade Center on 9/11, and so our country has been at war and in a posture of heightened security for your entire lives. You also went to school in an era of mass shootings, which means that you practiced locking your classroom doors and sheltering in place as children, as if this were normal. And now the last year and a half of your college education has been disrupted by a global pandemic. Your lives have been framed by tragic and stressful events, but your response to that has been extraordinary. You and your older brothers and sisters have dramatically changed the way we think about gender and sexual identity and pronouns. Many of you have marched to protest gun violence or to honor the victims of police shootings. On this campus, you have asked us to look you in the eyes and insisted that a judicial process that tolerates sexual assault is unacceptable. And during this pandemic, you have worn masks and taken care of one another and kept the virus at bay with amazing success. In my classes, I have never seen such a commitment to creating a safe and accepting and nurturing space as I have during your time at Farmington. And so, as a group, you have faced loss and disorientation and tremendous mental health pressures, but you have survived and thrived and excelled and made a difference in the world, and now many of you are walking across a stage in person against all odds to receive your diplomas. You have a lot to be proud of. It is ironic that I should be urging you to live all you can, when that is exactly what you have not been able to do this last year, as we have had to hunker down in simplicity and routine and isolation in one place. What Strother means, I think, is in some ways the very opposite of what we have all been doing. But this strange interlude will end, and the hunger for life will return. as you emerge into the world, out of quarantine, out of school, I hope that you will give this hunger for meaning, for beauty, for complication, for ecstatic experience outside of yourself, for nuance, for other people, for life, some play. Live all you can. It's a mistake not to. Thank you, and congratulations on behalf of the entire UMF faculty to the excellent class of 2021.
And now the exciting moment you've been waiting for, the presentation of candidates for degree. By the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of the University of Maine System, I hereby confer upon each of you the degree that you have earned with all the rights, privileges, and honors pertaining. Traditionally at this time, graduating seniors would move their tassels from the right side of their caps to the left, signifying they are now college graduates. If you have your cap and tassel as you are joining us virtually, please do that now. Congratulations, and now come forward to receive your degrees.
Senior Class President Isaac Bryant Siegel, magna cum laude. Senior Class Vice President Amelia G. Tibbetts, magna cum laude. Senior Class Secretary Joy E. Jansowitz, summa cum laude. Senior Class Treasurer Paige E. Catoret, summa cum laude. Lauren Andreessen. Hope Taylor Akers, summa cum laude. Piper Brooke Alexander, magna cum laude. Julia Frances Allen. Morgan M. Allen. Naomi Anderson, magna cum laude. Julianne Andriadis, magna cum laude. Rowan E. Bagley. Gracie Cynthia Barnard. Sophia Barnard, cum laude. Emma Elizabeth Bennett, magna cum laude. Mattie Sophia Bernard. Abigail K. Bessir, magna cum laude. Hannah Binder, summa cum laude. Jake Andrew Bishop. David Blatstein, cum laude. Samuel Bonfatti. Mariah Ann Bunno, cum laude. Isaiah L. Boria. Avery Boucher. Andrea Jean Boutelet, cum laude. Derek Bowen. Liam H. Brinkler. Taylor Burke, summa cum laude. Molly A. Burns. Dalton Lewis Brooks, cum laude. Tanya D. Bureau, cum laude. Adriana Lynn Burnham, cum laude. Chris W. Canavan. Fern Marie Calkins, summa cum laude. Briar N. Carlson. Danielle Ryan Chambers, summa cum laude. Jessica L. Charrier. Michaela A. Chase, cum laude. Michael Chavez. Ashley M. Clark. Mackenzie Ryan Clement, summa cum laude. Avery M. Colucci, magna cum laude. Christina L. Cloutier, summa cum laude. Jessica R. Cloutier. James A. Cook, magna cum laude. Jasmine K. Corkins. Matt Paul Cornelio, magna cum laude. Cheyenne Cray, cum laude. Carly Crossman Rogers. Alicia Megan Darling. Kate June Davidson. Christine Niale Destefan. Megan Dickinson, cum laude. Kara Renee Doan, cum laude. Annie Elizabeth Dobus. Alyssa Dolly. Thomas Dolman, cum laude. Cassie Marie Donald, summa cum laude. Jessica M. Doyan. Sarah Jean Dudley Taylor. Brianna M. Dugan. Thomas Alexander Dupuy. Paige Jordan Dutterer, magna cum laude. Hunter Teresa Ellis. Duncan Farley. Leanna Emily Farr, cum laude. Jordan M. Farron, summa cum laude. Kyle Farrington. Hope M. Falkingham. Sylvie Goodwin Fenderson, magna cum laude. John William Ferguson. Caleb James Fletcher. Alexia C. Fornaro. Lake France, magna cum laude. Brianna Lily Franklin, magna cum laude. Alexander Warren Garrett, summa cum laude. Kristen Lee Garrison, summa cum laude. Jessica Leonie Gilbert, summa cum laude. Valerie Marie Karen Gillis, cum laude. Catherine Elizabeth Gilpatrick, cum laude. Catherine Elizabeth Glenn, cum laude. Kevin P. Goodoak. Sydney E. R. Goodridge, summa cum laude. Megan Lynn Goodwin, cum laude. Kate Grafe, summa cum laude. Elise N. Jarrett, summa cum laude. Callie Elizabeth Hammer, cum laude. Jennifer Nicole Hancock, cum laude. Caroline Faith Headley. Sophia Gabriella Hendricks, summa cum laude. Lindsay Herzig. Benjamin J. Higgins. Melanie Ann Hipsky, magna cum laude. Madeline Hogan. Lillian J. Hunt. Taylor Lynn Jacobs, cum laude. Faith Lynn Jakes, cum laude. Allison Martine Jarvis, cum laude. Cha-Cha Albertine Jerome. Josiah Ann Jordan, summa cum laude. Audrey E. Cars. Obin Kalisa, cum laude. Emily J. Kelly, magna cum laude. Lauren E. Kepler, summa cum laude. Haley Knowlton, magna cum laude. Josh Kramer. Morgan Ann Laferriere. Emily Lake, cum laude. Mariah Langton, cum laude. Mandy Frances LaRose, magna cum laude. Josh Lawless. Alex M. Ledbetter. Mackenzie Ray LeBlanc, summa cum laude. Liz A. Leclerc. Madison R. Lekowicz, summa cum laude. Laura Elizabeth Lenny. Alyssa Karen Leonard, summa cum laude. Angel Christine Lermond. Abigail Libby. Tabitha Catherine Lingar, summa cum laude. Crystal Rose Maycumber, magna cum laude. Anna Beth Manuel, cum laude. Brianna Elizabeth Marquis. Brandon Curtis Martin, summa cum laude. Marie May Martin. Ayla I. McCulloch. Dalton L. E. McElfresh. Emily Kate McLaughlin, summa cum laude. Nathan William McIvor, cum laude and honors scholar. Matthew L. McKinney. Derek James McLaughlin, cum laude. Stephanie M. McLean, magna cum laude. Madeline McClellan, cum laude. Sydney Louise McLeod, magna cum laude. Tiffany Melia, cum laude. Brianna M. Mang, cum laude. Sierra Miller, magna cum laude. Jotam Moses Miller, magna cum laude. Priyanka Elizabeth Miller. Anna G. Moody, cum laude. Cameron Moon Westfall. Alyssa Rose Morin, summa cum laude. Simon Pannell Murphy. Sophie Elizabeth Murray, magna cum laude. Liz Renee Neto, magna cum laude. Billy Rose Newby, summa cum laude and honors scholar. Liz Ann Niznik, summa cum laude and honors scholar. Ev Norsworthy. Hope Elizabeth Norton. Kaylee Ann Oberg, cum laude. Elizabeth Madison Ouellette, cum laude. Jasmine Packard, summa cum laude. Rebecca J. Paradis, summa cum laude. Alexis Corianne Marie Paradis. Andrew W. Parent, magna cum laude. Emma Payson, summa cum laude. Gabrielle Elizabeth Pelkey, magna cum laude. Caden Jared Pendleton, magna cum laude. Taylor R. Perkins, summa cum laude. Kathleen G. Perry, magna cum laude. Alexis L. Pickens. Natalie Pierce. Megan Elizabeth Poirier, cum laude. Andrew Pouliot. Noah Preble. Sierra Leanne Pruill, summa cum laude. Chelsea Charmaine Pruitt. Haley Ramsdell, magna cum laude. Lainey Randolph, summa cum laude. Adele Ruth Richards, magna cum laude. Alexandria L. Ridley. Olivia Ridley, summa cum laude. Caitlin E. Riggett. Kelsey Jean Riggett. Eliza Barbara Robinson, summa cum laude. Jocelyn A. Rocray, magna cum laude. Faith Roulard, magna cum laude. Alora Sue Ross, summa cum laude. Patience Jane Rousseau. Vicky Sabatini, cum laude. Gary L. Sanderson. Corey Schneider, magna cum laude and honors scholar. Taryn Michelle Shore. Olivia Scott, magna cum laude. Hazel Faye Scribner, cum laude. Haley Jean Savigny. Megan E. Shekels, magna cum laude. Abby Shields. Katie A. Shupp. Jessica Lynn Small, cum laude. Petra Ann Smat, summa cum laude. Amber Marie Soha, magna cum laude. Audrey Kathleen Spear, magna cum laude. Madeline Grace Steele. Dominic Michael Stevens, cum laude. Amelia J. Sweat. Khadija Tawani. Emily L. Taylor, cum laude. Samantha Joy Taylor, summa cum laude and honors scholar. Sarah May Taylor, summa cum laude. Maxwell James Testa, cum laude. Jillian Marguerite Thompson. Tyler Clayton Tibbetts, summa cum laude. Heather Lynn Toll. Aurora Turmel, summa cum laude. Yesenia Valencia Ungo, magna cum laude. Melissa Veach, cum laude. Nathan Emmons Violet, summa cum laude. Henry James Wannett, magna cum laude. Sydney Renee Warman. Megan R. Warner. Tommy R. Watson, magna cum laude. Tucker Weeks. Abigail Jean Weston, summa cum laude. Cassidy L. Whitley, summa cum laude. Andrew Richard Wilcox, magna cum laude. Hunter Wiley. Kaylee Williams, cum laude. Zoe Bell Willis. Samantha Collie Wood, magna cum laude. Dexter H. Wright, magna cum laude. Abigail Young. Kira Jo Zabel, cum laude. Emily J. Bowen. Nora Bradford. Molly Patricia Brewer. Carrie Lynn Carr. Brian J. Daniels. Julie Farmer. Kennedy Hubbard. Brittany Hutchins. Melissa Kraus. Gabby Nicole LaPerriere. Kayla M. McGee. Cassie Lee Willett. Allison Y. Owens. Alana Stevenson. Rachel Sugarman. Megan White.
Congratulations to all of you, our newest graduates of the University of Maine at Farmington. At this time, I am pleased to introduce Hannah Robbins, representing the UMF Alumni Association.
Good morning. I'm Hannah Robbins, President of the UMF Alumni Council. Today, you join a network of over 14,000 Beavers who live, work, and contribute to their communities all around the world. But no matter where we end up or what adventures we take, we always carry our connections to our best Farmington friends around with us. It's my pleasure to welcome you to this network. We stand at the ready to support you as you transition into life after graduation. Congratulations and best of luck.
Thank you for gathering with us today to celebrate the graduates of the class of 2021, our newest alumni from the University of Maine at Farmington. Your dedication and your perseverance through your college experience assures us that you will accomplish impressive and wonderful things in your future. Make us proud and go Beavers.